Welcome, friends. In this session, we will learn one beautiful article, that is climate anxiety. So, here, what we will learn means we will learn why it is in news, right? So, here, one important topic like the Lancet planetary health, that may be very, very important for MCQs. After that, we will learn the definition and causes and who is most affected people and key findings and advantages, and finally challenges and issues and some of the solutions from the government, and one of the movements like Fridays for future. So it may be expected MCQ, right? So aspirant views, finally we will conclude. After that we will see some of the relevant questions regarding to this topic, and some of the MCQs so related to this topic, related not exactly but more or less related to this climate change and climate anxiety. So overall this is the plan, and before that let me share the standard disclaimer. So this is the friends standard disclaimer, and this is about myself. So now we will straight away go to the concepts, right? So let me, yeah, yes. So friends, is my screen is visible? Someone confirm? Yes. So now we will start with the topic. So friends, we will see the definition. So what is climate anxiety? So this is the new topic which is emerging nowadays. So the climate anxiety is known as a eco anxiety. It refers to the feelings like fear, worry, and distress. These are the very, very important keywords, friends. One is fear and worry and distress. So why we are getting this type of feelings, negative feelings actually? So these are caused by the awareness of impacts of climate change, right? So these are caused by the impacts of climate change and uncertainty about future of the planet. So that's why we are getting this type of negative feelings like fear, worry, and distress. So that is termed as a climate anxiety, also known as eco anxiety. Got it? So moreover, this term, it is a new term, it is not classified as a medical condition. So in MCQs they will confuse you. So it is not a medical condition, right? So it is increasingly recognized as a psychological and emotional challenge, particularly in the younger generation. So why particularly younger generation, I will decode in upcoming sections, right? So I hope you understood the climate anxiety definition. It is a new term, morely talks about the negative feelings like fear, worry, and distress caused by the awareness of impacts of climate change and uncertainty about the future planet, right? So very simple thing. And what are the causes of this climate anxiety? So the definition itself says it is awareness of the impacts of the climate change. So what are the impacts of the climate change? It is the standard question and answer for impacts of climate change, like temperature increase, extreme weather events, biodiversity loss, right? So especially disaster management like floods, droughts, and everything is the impacts of the climate change. So that is one of the, if you get awareness about that impacts, we are more going to the climate anxiety, because we are getting fear, we are getting worry, we are getting distress and uncertainty about the future of the earth or future of the planet. So that's why we are getting this anxiety, especially climate anxiety. And media coverage, so frequent reporting of environmental crisis can amplify feelings of the helplessness and fear. So we have a lot of media like social media and like television, internet, everything. So they definitely that post or pop-ups will come in our mobile phone, so that amplify the feeling of helplessness and fear. So that is another creation of this fear, worry, anxiety leading to the climate anxiety. Another point is uncertainty about the future. So it means food security, and displacement and the livability of the planet. So almost the terms, whatever in the definition, are repeating here. That are the causes. And inaction by the government and corporations. So the government's perceived as a lack of urgency in addressing these climate issues. So many government, if you see US government, the Trump is not willing to continue support in the Paris, right? This Paris climate, Paris Accord, right? So he's not providing any climate finance. Moreover, he is withdrawing the support. So like that, governments are showing a lack of urgency in addressing these climate issues. So that leads to the frustration and despair among the people, especially younger generation, right? So that is leads to the climate anxiety among the people. So these are the major causes. One is awareness of the impacts of the climate change and uncertainty about the future and media coverage and inaction by the government. So if you know these things, we are getting anxiety with respect to climate. So that is fear, worry, and distress. Three terms are very, very important. So who is the most affected people and why? So friends, I am talking about the younger people. So why younger people are more worried about this climate anxiety? So studies show that younger generation are more likely to experience the climate anxiety. Why? Because long-term stake in their future planet future. So young people will live, they have more age, right? They have more age in terms of living when compared to other old age people and median age people. So that's why they have long-term living and future of they are living in the planet. That's why they are more getting anxiety. When it comes to another section, that is indigenous and vulnerable communities. So they are directly affected by the climate change impacts, right? Such as rising sea level and droughts and temperature, right? If you take the old people and disabled people and some other weaker section and women, so they are directly affected by the impacts of the climate change. So that's why they are the people, they are the sections most affected. When it comes to another section, that is environmental activities, because environmental being an environmental activist means you are constantly exposing to them the knowledge about climate impacts, right? So generally common people don't give their time to spend to know about the impacts of the climate change. When if you are a climate environmental activist, you are have the more awareness, right? So that leads to the burnt out and the mental health challenge. So these are the people and the sections who are mostly affected. So friends, these are the key findings. So these are the basics till now what we have discussed. That is the definition, right? So the three terms are very important, and moreover, this is the new term, climate anxiety, and the causes. So these are the causes, and which section are highly impacted, especially younger people. You know the reason. So these are the points. When it comes to these key findings, so I have directly taken from the news article. So this article published in the Telangana Today on 6/1/25. So means today's date. So according to that article, they are mentioning, so 60% of younger people globally feel extremely worried about climate change, right? And 45% report that climate anxiety affects their daily lives. So these are the common findings. When it comes to triggering points, so media, we have spoken about one of the causes for climate anxiety is media, whether it may be social media, television media, and internet, whatever may be. So they are portraying the climate disasters, especially wildfires and melting glaciers, floods, temperature high. So whatever may be the pop-up comes to the people, so they are getting some type of fear, anxiety, and distress. So that are the triggering points. And real life experiences of the environmental degradation and extreme weather events. So nowadays we are generally experiencing the extreme weather events. So some people may feel high temperature, right? So these are the common phenomena, and sometimes very cold, sometimes too much rain and floods. Whatever we are witnessing when it comes to previous days. So these are the real-time experiences that are triggering points for them, fear, anxiety, and distress, which ultimately leading to the climate anxiety. So friends, as per our 7 day structure, we have advantage But here actually it is a negative term. But if we address this climate anxiety, we are going to get some of the advantages. That's why I have mentioned here as the advantage. So increased awareness. So what are the advantages if you address this climate anxiety properly? Climate anxiety can lead to environmental consciousness and activism. So people will become very, very active, proactive, right? So in addressing this climate anxiety and a collective action. So fear and concern can drive community. So generally, if someone people, if you getting the same impact by the many people, so it leads to the some community. So community action is very, very powerful. So fear and concern lead to community efforts and adopt sustainable practices and push for the policy changes. So this is the collective action comes from the addressing climate anxiety. If you want to address, you need collective action. So that is the one of the advantage and innovation and solutions. So individuals, organizations motivated by climate anxiety may invest in green technologies and solutions. Right. So these are the some of the advantages. And when it comes to global solidarity, so we will get the unity and purpose. So that is another advantage. So generally we don't want to write any advantages, but we can have this in the mind, right? So challenges and consequences are very, very important. So what are the challenges? Mental health and impact, right, friends? So persistent anxiety can lead to depression, right, and stress and reduce quality of life. This is one of the mental health. And generational divide. Younger generations feel more vulnerable and uncertain about future, right, leading to the conflicts, despair and inaction. So overwhelming of fear and preventing them not to taking any meaningful action. That are the one of the challenge due to this climate change, climate anxiety. And the media role. So excessive focus on the disasters. So this is the term, friends, doom scrolling. It exacerbate feeling of helplessness. So because people will scroll their mobile excessively, leading to feeling of helplessness. These are the challenges like mental health and generational divide and inaction and media role. So what about the solutions like government roles and initiatives? So policy frameworks, friends. Government must integrate mental health support into climate action plan. Right? Generally, we are taking different types of climate actions, but we are not integrating this mental health support. So that is one of the drawback in our existing policies. But uh, we want here to ensure the mental health support in the every policy and investment in the green infrastructure and renewable energy. So it is going very good, and capex is going very good in the previous budget and before previous budget and upcoming budgets also. We are expecting good things in the renewable energy. That is welcoming step. When it comes to policy awareness, so promote the positive narratives around climate solutions and community resilience is one of the important thing. It means making the people awareness, especially through support of these NGOs, right? Uh, Very, very important. They play a very, very important role when it comes to global cooperation. So friends, support for international agreements like Paris Accord, right? So that is a need a collective action. So you can mention USA, it is not with not supporting. So you can mention that, highlight that point. So need the global cooperation. When it comes to some of the movements like youth movements, so initiatives like Fridays for Future, so to empower younger people, because the most section, the one of the section which affected by this movement, this climate anxiety, is younger people. So young people to channel their anxiety into activism. So this is one of the movement, youth movement. So it is started in the Sweden country. So what is this? It is a global movement of students who skip their school on Fridays, especially particularly Fridays, to protest climate change. So it is a good moment to make the, to bring the awareness among the people. So this scheme is very, very this moment is very, very important. So friends, try to mark this important and highlight this scheme in your answers, right? So these are the different types of movements, and that will help you to get good marks, right? So I hope the what should be right in the solutions, especially government, I hope it is clear. One is policy framework and awareness, how we are bringing the awareness, and global cooperation. right? Along with that, some of the movements. So friends, this is the in our 7 day structure we have, this is the one of the section. So what are the views by the aspirant? So you can write generally being an optimist. So you can encourage some of the innovative measures and proactive things. So being a critic, you can mention that is insufficient government action, and that leads to the mistrust among the people and anxiety among the people. You can mention like that. And finally, you can go for the balanced approach. So what is the balanced approach? You need to give them combine the actions under the systemic change. So that is the common thing. So finally, the conclusion or way forward is, you can mention, so climate anxiety is the mirror reflecting the state of our planet and required multifaceted. This is the one of the key term you need to mention in your answers. So we need multifaceted response. Generally, people talk any issue, it is a multifaceted issue they can talk. So similarly, you can mention need multifaceted response. It is a new thing, right? So generally in the editorials they are mentioning like this. So you can mention in your answers like this: multifaceted response is needed to address an issue, right? So while mental health is essential in addressing root cause of anxiety, right? So climate change itself is a paramount. You can also write that one. And we need to foster resilience and sustainable practice and ensuring systemic action, and societies can transform climate anxiety into force of positive change, ensuring for the sustainable future. So these are the important terms like resilience and sustainable practices and systemic action, right? You need to mention these keywords are very important in your answers to get the good marks. So friends, this is overall what we have learned till now, and let me go through the Q&A questions and relevant questions whatever they are here. So friends, these are slightly off topic, means they are relevant but not exactly to the concepts what we have learned. So we will see some of the questions like NAFFC, right? So National Adoption Fund for Climate Change. So you need to deep dive what are the salient features about this fund and how does it help addressing climate vulnerabilities in India, and especially NAPCC. So friends, there are a lot of sub schemes in this NAPCC. So just go through the key features and critically evaluates its impact on the climate resilience. So need to check yourself. And how does climate change affect incidents of extreme weather events, and give examples of recent experiences, friends. So you need to mention that one. And when it comes to exactly our topic, these are the questions, right? So examine the societal impact of climate anxiety. So friends, we all know what is climate anxiety. So we have learned in the definition and societal impacts, especially which section of the people in the society are impacting. That you need to mention, especially younger people, right? And environmental activities and vulnerable people. You can mention that people are directly impacting, and yeah, here they're mentioning younger generation. So you need to mention why younger people are particularly impacting this climate anxiety. You need to give your answer, right? And how does it influence social cohesion and activism? So how it leads to the activism and social cohesion means community, right? So community approach we have discussed there. So if there is any fear, so that leads to the community solution leading to social cohesion and giving the proactivism among the people. So that needs to establish, you need to establish how it is coming as a social cohesion. So that is the question which is the relevant question. So when it comes to how can government integrate mental health in considering to climate action plans? So friends, it is a very technical question. So generally government will not integrate these mental health conditions and consideration. So here they are asking how in climate action plans. We have EVs, right? So whatever programs like renewable things, whatever we are mentioning, you need to integrate your mental health, improving mental health. So we have mentioned that three terms like fear, worry, and mistress, right? So distress. So whenever if you remove these things, the mental health will improve, right? So mental health will improve and climate anxiety will decreases. So these are the related relevant concepts. So you need to think yourself how we need to integrate these things and discuss the role of individual responsibility in addressing climate change and reduce Again, eco anxiety. So eco anxiety is the another term for the climate anxiety, means with these three keywords. So take the responsibility. Yes, friends, this is the simple questions. So deep dive yourself and get some of the points. Now we will see the MCQs relevant to these climate things. So which of the following is the best describe the climate justice? So climate justice is another term like a right. So climate justice and climate anxiety. So friends, climate anxiety nowadays it is coming a new term. So once upon a time, climate justice was a new term. Now this climate justice became old and very common for the among the people. So this is the old thing, and climate anxiety is a new term. New term. So when it comes to climate justice, it is an approach that ensures equitable sharing benefits burdens of the climate action among countries. A legal framework penalizes the countries with the higher greenhouse gas emissions. A system of compensation for climate-related loss and damage. A UN initiative to enforce compliance with climate agreement. Friends, it is not any initiative, it is not any system, and it is not any legal framework. It is just an approach to ensure equitable sharing of benefits and burdens of climate action across the countries. Not only the countries, even among the sections of the people. Right. So this climate justice talks about the especially women, children. They want the justice and vulnerable people. So not only across the countries, along with the sections, we need to ensure the equitable sharing of benefits as well as burdens with respect to climate action. So here we have next question, which is the NA, which are the following are included in NAPCC. So friends, NAPCC is the combination of different schemes. So here they are mentioning National Solar Mission, NMEE, and National Mission of Sustainable Habitat. So friends, these are the part of the these three schemes are part of the NEPCC, right? So that is one thing. And which of the following describes the climate anxiety? So it is a clinical condition caused by excessive heat and humanity. Friends, it is not a clinical condition, right? It is a psychological distress caused by the awareness of climate change and its impact. Yes, friends, it is a distress. So we have three terms: fear, worry, and distress. So here they are mentioning distress. So fear of economic loss and a political movement, it is not there. So the Fridays for Future movement is associated with which of the following? So this is the Triple F program, friends. So very tricky question if you don't know. So generally people go to the single-use plastic reducing. It is not the thing. It is not promoting any environmental, promoting renewable energy adoption, and it is the youth-led protest against climate inaction. Right. Yes, we have another questions. So which are the following initiatives directly related to the climate anxiety, promoting sustainable practices? So National Adoption Fund for Climate Change, Paris Agreement, and Global Youth Pact. Yes, friends, all are correct. Right. So Paris climate, it is against for the climate change. It is again mentioning the climate change and a global youth climate pact. So whatever the climate change that is related to the climate anxiety, because climate anxiety itself is the knowing of the impacts of the climate change. So these are the very interrelated. So one of the another question, important question and a tricky question. If you don't know, it is a very simple question, but it may appears as a very difficult. So doom scrolling, a term often associated with the climate anxiety. So friends, it is the habit of continuous reading of negative news about climate disasters, a strategy to mitigate the impacts of climate change through policy updates, digital campaign advocating for climate justice, the process of analyzing historical climate data in predict future trends. So friends, if you don't know the this doom scrolling, many people will get confused and mark the wrong answer. So friends, it is a habit of continuously, friends, the term itself mentioning it is a scrolling, right? Scrolling means we need to move our cursor either below or down. So it is a habit of continuous reading. So right, so doom is a negative term, right? So negative term, so it is a negative news. So by analyzing or decoding some of the words, you can get the answers. but you need to get the confidence in yourself, right? So the answer would be the habit of continuously reading negative news about climate disasters, right? So these are the overall points. And before concluding this, friends, I want you to read this entire article as it is from this paper, that is Telangana Today. So right, so let me cover some of the important points whatever we have discussed in the systematic way. So let me briefly touch upon these points, right. Within 1 or 2 minutes I will conclude the video. So I hope, yeah, it is visible clearly. So for the benefit of what we have learned, so how to read this editorial, it is very very important. So friends, so this is the normal article, but there are 2 to 3 important terms are expecting questions like triple F scheme and climate anxiety itself definition and doom scrolling. So these are the regular terms used in the editorials, but we don't get in the standard textbooks or NCRTs. So that's why it is important to learn from the reading from the article. So friends, so yes, so yeah, so if you see in our right, if you see in our introduction, we have missed the introduction. So in the introduction, they are mentioning, so climate change, it is a rising of global temperature and weather events, biodiversity loss, and given rise to anxiety. So these phenomena characterized by the chronic fear of environmental catastrophe, increasingly affecting the individual globally, particularly younger generation, as highlighted by the global survey published in the Lancet Planetary Health. So this is the survey published by the this agency, the Lancet Planetary Health. So that's why it is in the news. Right? So we will see some of the things, important things. So they are mentioning the world is heating up, right? And year passing, we are getting the record breaking temperatures and wildfires and floods, right? So that gives us the relentless assault on the ecosystem. This is the one of the starting paragraph, and they're mentioning surge of climate anxiety. So in this paragraph they are giving the definition like fear of environmental catastrophe anxiety. So but we have broadly defined the three key terms. So but in the article they are mentioning a little bit away. So this is the definition and introduction. And when it comes to threats, so unlike general anxiety, right, so they're mentioning need for the collective reality, they're mentioning that. So, then one of the survey did in the 2021, that is the Lancet Planetary Health. So 60% of people, younger people, and 45% are affected with their daily lives. So that are the statistics. So you can write these statistics in your climate change question, right? So even though it is a climate anxiety, but you should publish, you should write this because they are worried about the climate change. So whenever there is environmental question or global warming and climate change, you can mention these statistics. So 2021 global survey by the Lancet Planetary Health, 60% of younger people felt extremely worried about the climate change, right? And 45% are getting affected by the daily lives. So that you can mention, you will get good marks. So that is the one thing. So how we perceive. So they are mentioning the like the images of melting glacier and burning forests and standard polar bears, hard to ignore. So they are giving the climate change impacts, right? So they are mentioning this the key term like doom scrolling, whatever we have discussed, aptly called, right? Okay. So apart from them, there is no important points. So here we can mention, we can see the some of the, this is the emotional toll and doesn't end with the individuals, and it strains relationships, faster generational and even community level, that we need to get. So how to deal with it? So acknowledging the first thing is a very very important thing. So validating ourselves, especially the climate change feelings. So whatever the feelings, whether you are getting fear, whether you are getting worry, whether you are getting distress among the, and whether you are getting uncertainty about your future, so you need to validate yourself. So validating the um, fe- um, feelings is a very very important, right? So that is the one thing. And connecting the like-minded, yeah, this paragraph very very important. Connecting the like-minded individuals and joining climate groups and feeling everything is very very important, like it is a community action, right? So that is the thing. And furthermore, they are mentioning, yes, yeah, it is not a mental health and reflecting our status of planet. So overall, these are friends. So in the article, if you read as it is, you can get 1 or 2 points. But whenever if you practice in this format, right? Whenever if you are practice in this structure, right? So going from the definition, what are the causes and who are the key points and advantages and disadvantages, human roles and views and conclusion. It is very very easy for everyone. So friends, thank you so much for watching this video. We will meet in the next section.